Hello, YouTube. It's Paul coming at you. Quick little video. Got some Mailday, some Battle of Alberta musings and memories, and uh, I'm not sure what to deal with first. Yeah, we'll go with the mail. First up, UD3 Gold out of 100. Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov, good player, playing for Minnesota. Um, really, these are starting to grow on me, and this popped up. I took a stab at it, and as with all of these, it's got some chipping issues, but it's a good card. I like it. I also had this card come in. Start into my Oilers talk. Um, Last year's playoffs team didn't play so well. McDavid did everything he could, but play every shift, and you know he's definitely evolving in front of our eyes. But I also got this triple reflections gold. Ooh, out of 50. Also from last year's UD Extended. And this one commemorates him, you know, being the 8th fastest player to tying Crosby for being the 8th fastest player to reach 500 points, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this playoffs, McDavid has been McDavid's coming out party. Last year, during the playoffs, there was a bunch of dirty tricks, played by Mark Scheifele, the Winnipeg Jets, and you could see McDavid learn from it. He's more physical. When you think of McDavid, you almost think of, well, he's kind of like Gretzky, like this out of this world talent, but it's also more like Messier. Like he's, let's see if I can get that shine. Ooh. And that he's physical and he leads by example with his physicality. Like he trucked a couple of LA Kings, which was absolutely hilarious. And Game 6 he was not going to be denied, and so we're seeing the evolution. Oilers beat the Kings in Game 7, and it was a well played game. The series with Calgary, not going to lie, we're in tough, and that was before Draisaitl got injured. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain and whatnot. And then the start to last night's game, it was not the best. The second period, I turned the game off when it was 5-2. It was a late start, and for work, uh, I had to be up at 5 a.m. And then where I'm working, they've got a heavy snowfall warning in effect because it's just like 30 kilometers east of the Rockies. So I didn't wind up going to work, but you know. But yeah, you listen to the game, and they came back, and I'm like, I'm not turning it back on. It's just such a crazy game. I'm just gonna, let this one be. Hopefully it's an anomaly, but team's in tough. But McDavid did his part. He had a 4-point night, so like, what more do you want? He's definitely carrying the team on his back, and and I don't know other hockey fans understand the Battle of Alberta. Like in the '80s, you had craziness. Like there was a skirmish, like a line brawl, and a linesman accidentally threw an Oilers jersey into the Flames penalty box, and Doug Riseborough, who's already in the penalty box, cut the jersey up with his skates, and so they made it into a bit of a thing, and you know, uh, it was definitely it was definitely a rivalry. Um, I like to joke the only time Calgary did anything in the playoffs in the '80s. Steve Smith scored an own goal in Game 7, and we traded away the best player in hockey, and that's the only time they were able to do anything. So, because Calgary sucks, but um, yeah, just a lot of fond memories. Edmonton was on the better side of it, and then once the '90s hit and economic realities and the exchange rate, and the Oilers were run by a later convicted criminal. So, or when you're owned by a guy like that and he's threatening to move the team or sell the team and whatever, and it wasn't a fun part of the decade, you know. And then if Edmonton was good, Calgary was bad. If Calgary was good, Edmonton was bad. So there would be these games, and but the last couple of years have definitely been entertaining. 2019, 20, that's when it really got back to where it should be as a rivalry. There was the kerfluffle in town on February 2nd, where personal fan favorite, and the goalie that got chased, Mike Smith. Uh, he it all started. Actually, it started several games before. Uh, Matthew Tkachuk and Zach Kassian started a feud, and then there was a Calgary goalie at the time, Dave Riddick, his stick flip, and so then we get to the February 2nd game, the stick flip game. He was Mike dropping his goalie stick out at center ice when he won in a shootout, and of course the Oilers didn't take kindly to that, and they chased him. I think it was 4-0 or 4-1 after the first period, so they chased him. And second period, right at the 30 seconds left, there was a scrum, and it was turned into a full-on line brawl type thing. And then Cam Talbot, who was in replacing Dave Riddick, he it was pointed out to him that Mike Smith was doing lazy figure eights out at center ice, and so Smith and Talbot went and got into a dust up, and Talbot lost, and and the game with 30 seconds left in the second period, the ref said, "Well, no, we'll just tack the time on to the start of we're going to intermission to let everybody cool off and figure out penalties." And so, Smith and Talbot were ejected for being in a goalie fight, and Riddick was back in, and he gave up a couple more for good measure. So, uh, now this year, it's been back and forth, but Calgary's got a really big team, a deep team. They seem to be, for the most part, healthy. So, Edmonton with Draisaitl not being 100%. Who knows what's going to happen? But yeah. So, what else? Some other pickups, and then I guess one final Battle of Alberta story. But these I'll just show. Picked up a Doug Weight holographics. I just found a seller with a bunch of late 90s Oilers cards. Because this is from 2000? I can't see the year. Yeah, 99, 2000. Just a base card. Yeah, personal favorite. I grew a gratuitous Doug Weight card. I also had a Topps Gold label. Not sure which one this is again, but I'm a sucker. almost looks like it. No. Could be etched, sort of etched, maybe. Yeah, there's etching. Make some etching noises. Oh, etching. Woo. And this card mentions Doug Waite's philanthropic endeavors. He bought a box suite, donated uh, tickets to kids with cancer and cancer survivors, and so he was big in Edmonton. He also did stuff for the SPCA. And then I think that's it for Doug Waite. Oh no, it isn't. Now, I've been on a bit of an SPX kick. And same seller. Here's Bill Ranford, also a member of the Battle of Alberta. But he came back at the end of his career for, I think it was half a season or a year. I actually don't even remember it. But he's SPX. I like them. That was Bill Ranford. There's Tommy Sallow. Some of the rookie cards are rookies and prospects. I don't know if there's many rookies, like actual rookie cards, but they were autographed. And like I almost want to just complete the set here off of looking at these. Tom Pody, talented defenseman. He's also allergic to everything. A friend of mine would see him at the grocery store and he'd be reading every label of everything. So he was allergic to a bunch of stuff. And one of the pride of Newfoundland, Dan Cleary. I think he was more famous when he went over to the Red Wings and won a cup there. Bill Guerin, now manager of the Minnesota Wild, as well as Kirill Kaprizov. And Mike Greer. Like I really like that. Whoa, whoa. And finally, of course, Doug Waite. And this is my favorite Oilers white jersey. I won't say my favorite Oilers home jersey because that's the Reebok with the numbers on the shoulders. But yeah, and of course about this time, because this is 99, 2000, yeah, maybe it was a couple of years earlier. In the Battle of Alberta, he lit up, I think it was Rick Tabaracci of the Flames. Deked out about 7 Flames on a goal of the year candidate when he right off the starting face-off type thing. And it was at the start of Hockey Night in Canada's broadcast for years. But finally, I'll show off Mike Vernon. So, the Battle of Alberta. My cousin was a Flames fan. And he's a year and a half younger than I am. And, went to visit him. I want to say 1988. So I would have been 12. Anyways, we go out to play street hockey with his friends. It's in Edmonton. His dad was in the Army, and we're at the Army base, but he's a Flames fan. So since I was his cousin, I had to be on his team, and we had to be the Flames, and I like playing goal. And partially because where I lived, going to school, I was playing gym with guys that were 2 and 3 years older than me, so they'd stick me in net for floor hockey, and we played a lot of floor hockey. So anyways, I'm in goal, and as kids do, I don't know if kids do it for other sports, but you pretend you're a team and a player, and so he made me Mike Vernon, which just seemed stupid. And so, of course, his friends, they're from Edmonton, they love the Oilers, so they got to be the Oilers. Like, why couldn't we just be both teams of the Oilers? But anyways, so I'm in net, and 88, Vernon let in some soft goals. Gretzky's last goal as an Oiler, I believe it was an overtime winner in Game 2, when they swept the Flames, when Flames were like I think they won the President's Trophy, best team in the league. Edmonton was in second place in the division. And anyways, yeah, he blew one past. Pretty sure it was short-handed too, but blew one past Mike Vernon. So there I am. I'm sort of stewing, and my cousin and I, we need to have a look at the etching. We had to have a thing go on every now and then, and so now, like, I made a bunch of saves, and then I'm like, this is stupid. I hate being the Flames. So I just started letting the ball go by me. Like, we're in the street, it's a tennis ball. So he's like, 1 goal, 2 goal, 3 goals, 4 goals. Now I've given them like a 5-goal lead. I think we're playing to 10. Whoever got to 10 won the game. You start over, might switch players or whatever. So anyways, the other team's up 5. So I let in the 6th one. He screams at me, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, well, I'm being like Mike Vernon. Well, now there's sticks being swung at each other, and it wasn't maybe the most loving cousin moment, but yeah, that was the Battle of Alberta. You just get your digs in and whatnot. So yeah, looking forward to the rest of the series. High expectations, not really, but the Oilers have shown progress. This year's team's deeper. Got some younger players learning what it takes, and hopefully, maybe next year. But, or this year. I mean, it's still a lot of hockey to be played. So, but yeah, there you have it. I said Wesker Griff says, get amongst it, y'all.